Oh,
The storm came from nowhere. One moment the sky was gray and quiet. The next moment the world turned white and angry. Winds screamed across the empty land like a wild beast. Snow flew sideways, hitting everything in its path. The cold was the kind that hurt, the kind that killed. Jacob walked alone through the blizzard. Each step was harder than the last. His boots were old and torn. Snow pushed inside them, freezing his feet. His coat was thin, it had holes. The wind cut through it like knives. He pulled his only blanket tighter around his shoulders, but it did not help much. He was a soldier once, a good soldier. He fought in the war, he saw his friends die, he got hurt, he bled, but he survived. When the war ended, they sent him home with a medal and a handshake. Nothing else, no money, no help. Just goodbye and good luck. But there was no home to go back to. While Jacob was fighting, his family lost their ranch. They could not pay the money they owed. The bank took everything. His parents moved away. His brother went east. Nobody waited for Jacob. Nobody remembered him. Now he was nobody. A ghost walking through snow, a forgotten man in a forgotten land. Jacob did not know where he was going. He just walked. He had to keep moving or the cold would take him. His body shook. His teeth made clicking sounds. His hands were so cold they felt like stone. He needed shelter. He needed it soon or he would die out here. The wind pushed him. The snow blinded him. He could barely see 10 feet ahead. Everything looked the same. White ground, white air, white death. Then he heard something. Jacob stopped walking. He listened. The wind was loud, but there was another sound, a cry, weak and far away. Not human, but not the wind either. He turned his head, trying to hear it again. There, he heard it, a sound of pain, a sound of dying. Something inside Jacob pulled him toward that sound. Maybe it was stupid. Maybe he should save himself. But he had been saved once, pulled from a battlefield when he should have died. Maybe this was why. Maybe this moment was why he survived. Jacob pushed forward through the storm. His legs hurt, his lungs burned. Every breath felt like swallowing ice, but he kept going. The sound grew louder, closer. Through the white curtain of snow, he saw a shape. A building, old and broken, leaning to one side like a drunk man. A barn, half the roof was gone. The walls had big holes, but it was shelter, maybe enough to live. The cry came again. From inside the barn, Jacob reached the door. It hung crooked on broken hinges. He grabbed it with both hands and pulled. It opened with a loud creak. He stepped inside. The barn was dark. The wind still came through the holes, but it was quieter here, less angry. Jacob's eyes slowly got used to the darkness. He saw old wood, broken tools, piles of dirty hay, and in the corner something moving. He walked closer. His heart beat faster. It was a horse. She lay on the ground, half covered in old hay and snow. She was small. Her coat was brown and white in patches, but dirt and ice covered most of it. Jacob could see her ribs. Every bone showed. She was starving, dying. Her eyes were open. They looked at Jacob, big eyes. Sad eyes, eyes that had given up. Someone left her here. Someone rode away and let her die alone in this broken barn. Maybe they thought she was too old, too weak, too much trouble, so they just left her like trash. Jacob dropped to his knees beside her. The ground was cold and wet. He did not care. He reached out slowly. His hand touched her neck. She did not move, did not pull away. She was too tired, too broken. Her body shook, not from fear, from cold. She was freezing. The barn gave almost no protection. Wind came through every crack. Snow fell through the broken roof. Without warmth, this horse would be dead before sunrise. Jacob looked at the blanket on his shoulders, his only blanket. The only thing keeping him alive. Without it, he would freeze too. The cold would take him just like it was taking her. His mind told him to keep the blanket. To save himself, he was human. She was just a horse. Just an animal. The choice was obvious. Keep the blanket. Live, walk away, survive. But Jacob's heart said something different. He looked into the horse's eyes again. He saw himself there. 2 creatures the world threw away. 2 lives nobody wanted. 2 souls left to die alone. The horse made a small sound. Weak, quiet, like a whisper asking for help. Jacob's hands moved before his mind could stop them. He unwrapped the blanket from his shoulders. The cold hit him instantly. It felt like falling into ice water. His whole body screamed. But he did not stop. He spread the blanket over the horse. He covered her shaking body. He tucked the edges around her carefully, gently, like covering a child. The horse lifted her head, just a tiny movement. Her eyes found his eyes. And something passed between them, understanding, connection, two broken things finding each other in the darkness. Jacob sat down beside her. He pressed his body against hers, sharing warmth, sharing life. The storm shook the barn. Snow fell on them, but they were together now. Not alone anymore.
The night was long. The longest night of Jacob's life. He sat against the horse, sharing what little warmth they had. The blanket covered her, but it was not enough. The cold came from everywhere. Through the broken walls. Through the holes in the roof. Through the cracks in the floor. Jacob shivered. His whole body shook so hard his bones hurt. His teeth knocked together. He could not stop it. The cold was inside him now. Deep in his chest. In his blood. He wondered if this was how dying felt. Slow. Quiet. Like falling asleep and never waking up. But he would not leave the horse. He made his choice. He would stay with her until the end. Whether that end came in an hour or never at all. The horse breathed slowly beside him. In and out. In and out. Each breath sounded wet and painful. Jacob put his ear against her side and listened to her heartbeat. It was weak but steady. Still fighting. Still alive. "Good girl," Jacob whispered. His voice was rough and broken. "Keep fighting. Just keep fighting." The wind howled outside like wolves hunting. The barn creaked and groaned. Jacob worried it might collapse on them. The walls leaned so far to one side. The roof had so many holes. One strong gust of wind could bring it all down. But the barn held. Barely. It was old and broken, but it was stubborn. Like them. Hours passed. Jacob did not sleep. He was too cold to sleep. Too scared. If he closed his eyes, he might not open them again. So he stayed awake. He talked to the horse. Quiet words. Gentle words. He told her about the war. About the mud and blood. About the friends he lost. About the screaming and the dying. He told her things he never told anyone. Things he kept locked inside his heart. The horse listened. Or maybe she did not. Maybe she was too far gone to hear. But Jacob talked anyway. The words poured out of him like water from a broken dam. And somehow, talking helped. It made him feel less alone. "I had a ranch once," he said softly. "My family's ranch. Beautiful land. Green grass. Clean water. We had 20 horses. You would have loved it there." The horse's ear twitched. Just slightly. Like she heard him. "My favorite horse was called Thunder. Big black stallion. Fast as lightning. Strong as iron. I loved that horse." Jacob's voice cracked. "I wonder where he is now. I wonder if someone good bought him. I hope so." The night grew colder. Jacob's fingers went numb. He could not feel his toes anymore. His lips turned blue. His skin was white like snow. But he did not move. He stayed pressed against the horse, giving her every bit of warmth his body had left. Then, something changed. The horse moved. Just a little. Her head lifted higher than before. Her breathing sounded stronger. Less wet. Less painful. Jacob sat up. He looked at her in the darkness. Her eyes were different now. More alive. More awake. "Hey there," Jacob said. His heart jumped with hope. "You feeling better?" The horse looked at him. Really looked at him. And in her eyes, Jacob saw something beautiful. Gratitude. She knew what he did. She understood he saved her life. Slowly, carefully, the horse tried to stand. Her legs shook. They were weak. Too weak. She fell back down with a small grunt. Easy, Jacob said quickly. He put his hand on her neck. Do not rush. Take your time. But the horse tried again. She wanted to stand. Needed to stand. Her front legs pushed. Her back legs trembled. She wobbled. She almost fell. Jacob moved beside her. He put his shoulder under her neck. He pushed with what little strength he had left. Come on, he whispered. We can do this. Together. The horse pushed harder. Jacob pushed with her. And slowly, inch by inch, she rose. Her legs straightened. Her body lifted. She stood. She was standing. Jacob could not believe it. An hour ago, she looked dead. Now she stood on her own 4 legs. Weak and shaking, but standing. You did it, Jacob said. Tears ran down his frozen face. You actually did it. The horse turned her head and pressed her nose against Jacob's chest. A gentle push. A thank you? A promise. Something broke inside Jacob. All the pain he carried. All the loss. All the loneliness. It came out in sobs. He wrapped his arms around the horse's neck and cried. He cried for his lost home. His lost family. His lost life. And he cried with relief that in this broken barn, in this terrible storm, he was not alone. The horse stood still. She let him cry. Let him hold her. Like she understood everything. When Jacob finally stopped crying, he felt different. Lighter. Like something heavy had been lifted from his soul. He looked around the barn. The storm still raged outside, but it sounded quieter now. Or maybe he was just getting used to it. He saw old tools hanging on the walls. A rusty bucket. Some rope. And in the corner, under moldy hay, something else. Jacob walked over and dug through the hay. His hands found wood. Dry wood. Old fence posts left behind years ago. Fire. He could make fire. His frozen fingers fumbled with his pockets. He still had matches. Just 3 left. Wrapped in cloth to keep them dry. He pulled them out. Please work, he thought. Please. He gathered the wood. Made a small pile. Took out 1 match. His hand shook so hard he could barely hold it. He struck the match. It lit. The tiny flame grew. Small at first. Just a spark. But Jacob fed it carefully. He added small pieces of wood. Splinters. Bark. Anything that would burn. The fire grew bigger. Orange light filled the dark barn. Warmth spread through the air. Beautiful, precious warmth. Jacob held his frozen hands near the flames. Feeling slowly came back to his fingers. It hurt. Like needles stabbing his skin. But it was good pain. It meant he was alive. Still alive. He looked at the horse. She stood near the fire, watching the flames with wide eyes. Maybe she had never seen fire before. Or maybe she forgot what warmth felt like. Her body stopped shaking. The blanket still covered her back, but now the fire helped too. We are going to make it, Jacob said. This time, he believed it. He fed more wood to the fire. The pile was not big, but it would last until morning. Until the storm ended. That was all they needed. Just until morning. Jacob sat down close to the flames. His body was so tired. Every muscle ached. Every bone felt heavy. But his heart felt lighter than it had in months. The horse walked closer. Step by step. Slow and careful. She came to Jacob and lowered her head. Her nose touched his shoulder. Gentle. Soft. Jacob reached up and stroked her face. Her coat was rough under his hand. Dirty and matted. But he did not care. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. You need a name, Jacob said quietly. He thought for a moment. How about Hope? That is what you gave me tonight. Hope. The horse's ear twitched at the sound. Like she understood. Like she accepted the name. Hope stood beside Jacob as he sat by the fire. The storm continued outside, But inside the barn, they had warmth. They had light. They had each other. Jacob's stomach growled. He had not eaten in 2 days. There was no food. Nothing. He looked around the barn again, hoping to find something. Anything. But there was only old hay, broken tools, and dust. His eyes stopped on the hay. It was moldy and old, but some of it looked less bad than the rest. He walked over and sorted through it. Found some pieces that were dry. Not green with mold. Not completely rotten. It was not good hay. But it was something. He brought an armful to Hope. Laid it on the ground in front of her. "I know it is not much," Jacob said. "But please, try to eat." Hope sniffed the hay. She was hungry. Starving. But she was also weak. Sick. Jacob worried she might be too far gone to eat. But then Hope took a small bite. Chewed slowly. Swallowed. Then another bite. And another. Relief flooded through Jacob. She was eating. That was good. That meant she wanted to live. He sat back down by the fire and watched her eat. Each bite made him feel better. Gave him more hope. If she could eat, she could heal. If she could heal, she could survive. But what about after? What happened when the storm ended and morning came? Jacob did not know. He had no plan. No home. No money. No food. And now he had a horse who needed care. Medicine. Good food. Rest. How could he give her those things when he had nothing? The question sat heavy in his mind. But he pushed it away. One problem at a time. First, survive the night. Everything else could wait. Hours passed. The fire burned steady. Hope finished eating and lay down near the warmth. Her breathing sounded better now. Stronger. Jacob took that as a good sign. He lay down too, using his arm as a pillow. His body finally relaxed. The warmth made him drowsy. His eyes grew heavy. Just before sleep took him, Hope moved closer. She laid her head near Jacob's chest. Close enough that he could feel her breath. Warm and steady. Jacob smiled. His hand rested on her neck. "Thank you," he whispered. "For not giving up. For fighting." Hope's eye closed. Jacob's eye closed. And together they slept. When Jacob woke, everything was quiet. Too quiet. The wind had stopped. The howling was gone. He sat up quickly, his heart pounding. How long did he sleep? Light came through the holes in the roof. Not the gray light of storm, but golden light. Sunshine. The storm was over. Jacob stood and walked to the barn door. He pulled it open and stepped outside. The world was white. Pure white. Snow covered everything. The land. The hills. The trees in the distance. It was beautiful. Peaceful. Like the earth had been washed clean. The sky was blue. Clear. The sun shone bright and warm. They survived. Jacob laughed. A real laugh. Full of relief and joy. They actually survived the night. He heard movement behind him. Hope walked out of the barn. She stepped into the snow and stopped. Her head lifted. Her nose tested the air. She looked different in the sunlight. Still thin. Still dirty. But stronger somehow. More alive. Jacob looked at her and made a decision. He did not know how. He did not know where they would go or what they would do. But he was not leaving this horse. Not now. Not ever. "We are together now," Jacob said to Hope. "You and me. Whatever comes next, we face it together." Hope turned her head and looked at him. And in her eyes, Jacob saw agreement. They were not just man and horse anymore. They were family. Jacob and Hope started walking. They had no choice. They could not stay in the broken barn forever. They needed food. Water. A real place to rest. The snow was deep. Each step was hard work. Jacob's legs sank to his knees. Hope struggled too. She was still weak. Still recovering. But she kept moving. one step at a time. Jacob did not know where they were going. He just followed the sun, headed south. Maybe they would find a town. Maybe they would find help. His stomach hurt from hunger. It had been 3 days since he ate anything. His body ran on nothing but hope and will. But he did not complain. He just walked. Hope walked beside him. Sometimes she fell behind. Her legs were not strong yet. Jacob would stop and wait. He would stroke her neck and whisper encouragement. "Just a little further," he would say. "We can do this." And Hope would start walking again. The sun was high when they saw the smoke. Jacob stopped. He shaded his eyes and looked. Yes. Definitely smoke. Rising into the blue sky. Thin and gray. Maybe a mile away. Maybe less. Smoke meant fire. Fire meant people. "Come on, girl," Jacob said to Hope. New energy filled his tired body. "We found someone." They walked faster. The snow got less deep. They came over a hill and saw a small house. Old wood. Crooked chimney. Smoke coming from the top. Behind the house was a small barn. Some broken fences. A few chickens pecking in the snow. A ranch. Small and poor, but still a ranch. Jacob felt nervous. What if the people were mean? What if they chased him away? He looked like a beggar. Dirty. Starving. With a half-dead horse. Not exactly welcome company. But they needed help. He had to try. He walked to the house. Hope followed close behind. Jacob knocked on the door. Nothing happened. He knocked again. Louder. The door opened. A woman stood there. She was old. Maybe 60. Gray hair. Tired eyes. Worn dress. She looked at Jacob. Then at Hope. Her face showed no emotion. "What do you want?" she asked. Her voice was hard. Suspicious. "Ma'am," Jacob said. He took off his hat. "I am sorry to bother you. But my horse and I, we are in trouble. We have no food. No place to go. I was hoping. Maybe you could spare some water? Maybe some old hay for my horse?" The woman stared at him. Silent. Judging. "I can work," Jacob added quickly. "I am strong. I can chop wood. Fix fences. Anything you need. Just for a little food. Please." The woman's eyes moved to Hope. She looked the horse up and down. Saw the ribs. The dirty coat. The weak legs. "That horse is dying," the woman said flatly. "No," Jacob said. "She is getting stronger. She just needs food. Rest. She will be okay. She is worthless," the woman said. "You should shoot her. Put her out of her misery." Jacob's jaw tightened. Anger flashed in his chest. But he kept his voice calm. "She is not worthless. She is alive. And I am not giving up on her." The woman studied Jacob's face. Something changed in her eyes. Something softened. "You a soldier?" she asked. Jacob nodded. "Yes, ma'am. Infantry. Just got back." The woman was quiet for a long moment. Then she sighed. "My son was a soldier too," she said quietly. "He did not come back." Jacob's anger disappeared, replaced by sadness. "I am sorry." The woman looked away. When she looked back, her eyes were wet. "There is hay in the barn. Not much, but some. Put your horse there. Then come inside. I will make you something to eat." Relief washed over Jacob. "Thank you. Thank you so much." The woman nodded and closed the door. Jacob led Hope to the barn. It was small but solid. Better than the broken barn they left. There were 2 stalls. Both empty. He put Hope in one and gave her hay from a small pile in the corner. Hope ate hungrily. Jacob smiled and patted her neck. "Rest now," he said. "I will be back soon." He walked back to the house. The door opened before he knocked. The woman let him inside. The house was small. One room. A fireplace. A table. A bed in the corner. Simple. Poor. But warm and clean. The woman pointed to a chair. Sit. Jacob sat. The woman put a bowl in front of him. Soup. Thin and watery, but hot. And there was bread. Hard and stale, but real bread. Jacob's hands shook as he picked up the spoon. He ate slowly, trying not to eat too fast. The soup was the best thing he ever tasted. The woman sat across from him. She watched him eat. "What is your name?" she asked. "Jacob. Jacob Cole." "I am Martha," the woman said. "Martha Brennan." Jacob nodded. "Thank you for this, Mrs. Brennan. I will not forget your kindness." Martha said nothing. She just stared at the fire. After Jacob finished eating, Martha spoke again. "I need help on this ranch. My husband died 2 years ago. My son never came home from the war. I cannot do all the work myself anymore." She looked at Jacob. "You can stay. Work for me. I will give you food, a place in the barn, and hay for your horse." Jacob could not believe it. "Really? You would do that?" "I need help," Martha said simply. "You need a place. It works for both of us." Jacob felt tears in his eyes. "Thank you. I will work hard. I promise." Martha stood up. "The barn needs fixing. The fences are broken. The roof leaks. There is a lot of work." "I can do it," Jacob said. "All of it." Martha nodded. "We will see." That night, Jacob slept in the barn next to Hope. For the first time in months, his stomach was full. He had shelter. He had work. He had hope. Hope rested in her stall, warm and safe. They had found a home. Jacob and Hope walked through the snow together. The morning sun was bright and warm on their faces. The storm was gone. The world was new again. But Jacob had a problem. A big problem. He had no food. No money. No shelter. And winter was not over. More storms would come. They needed somewhere safe. Somewhere warm. But where? Hope walked beside him slowly. She was stronger than last night, but still weak. Her ribs still showed. She needed good food. Rest. Care. Jacob stopped walking. He looked around at the endless white land. Empty. No houses. No towns. Nothing but snow and sky. "What do I do?" he asked out loud. "How do I save you?" Hope turned her head and looked at him. Her dark eyes were calm. Trusting. Like she believed Jacob would find a way. That trust made Jacob's chest hurt. This horse believed in him. Trusted him with her life. He could not let her down. He thought hard. Where could they go? Then he remembered something. Before the storm, he passed a town. Small. Far away. But it was there. Maybe 20 miles back. 20 miles? In deep snow. With a weak horse. It seemed impossible. But what choice did they have? "We walk," Jacob said to Hope. "We walk until we find help." They started moving. Step by step. Slow and steady. The snow was deep. Sometimes it came up to Jacob's knees. Hope struggled. She breathed hard. But she kept going. Jacob worried. What if she collapsed? What if the walk was too much? But he had no other choice. Staying in the barn meant death. Moving forward meant a chance. They walked for hours. The sun climbed higher in the sky. The snow began to melt a little. Water dripped from trees. Birds sang somewhere in the distance. Hope's steps got slower. Weaker. She was tired. So tired. "Just a little more," Jacob said gently. "You can do this. I know you can." But then Hope stopped. She would not move. Her legs shook. Her head hung low. Jacob's heart sank. She could not go on. She had nothing left. He looked around desperately. Nothing. Just empty land and snow. No help anywhere. Then he saw it. Far in the distance. Smoke. Rising into the blue sky. Smoke meant fire. Fire meant people. Look, Jacob said, pointing. Someone is there. We just have to reach them. But Hope could not walk anymore. She stood still, swaying slightly, about to fall. Jacob made a decision. He took off his coat. Wrapped it around Hope's neck like a rope. Then he started pulling. Gently. Carefully. Come on, girl, he said. Just a little more. Please. Hope took one step. Then another. Following Jacob. Trusting him. They moved forward together. Inch by inch. Jacob pulled. Hope followed. The smoke got closer. Jacob's arms burned. His legs shook. But he did not stop. Could not stop. Finally, they came over a small hill. And there it was. A ranch. Small but solid. A house. A barn. Fences. And in the yard, a man chopping wood. Help! Jacob shouted. His voice was rough and broken. Please! Help us! The man looked up. He was old. Gray beard. Weathered face. He dropped his axe and ran toward them. Good Lord, the man said when he reached them. What happened to you two? Caught in the storm, Jacob said. His words came out in gasps. Please! The horse. She needs help. Food. Water. I can work. I will do anything. Just please help her. The old man looked at Jacob. Then at Hope. His eyes were kind. Wise. Come, he said simply. Both of you. The man led them to the barn. It was warm inside. Clean. Filled with good hay. He brought water in a bucket. Hope drank and drank. Then he brought oats. Real oats. Hope ate like she had never seen food before. Jacob watched, tears running down his face. She was safe. Finally safe. The old man brought Jacob inside the house. His wife, a small woman with gentle eyes, gave Jacob hot soup. Bread. Coffee. Jacob ate slowly, savoring every bite. What is your name, son? The old man asked. Jacob, sir. Jacob Cole. I am Samuel. This is my wife, Ruth. The old man sat down. Where are you headed? Nowhere, Jacob said honestly. I have no home. No family. Nothing. Samuel nodded slowly. And the horse? Someone left her to die. I found her during the storm. I could not leave her. You gave her your blanket, Samuel said. It was not a question. He saw the truth in Jacob's thin clothes. His frozen skin. Yes, sir. Samuel and Ruth looked at each other. Some silent conversation passed between them. We are old, Samuel said finally. This ranch is too much for us now. We need help. Someone young. Strong. Someone who cares about horses. He paused. Someone like you. Jacob's heart stopped. Sir? Stay, Samuel said. Work for us. We will give you food. Shelter. A wage. And your horse can heal here. Get strong again. Jacob could not speak. Could not breathe. Was this real? Or was he still in the barn freezing, dreaming? Why? Jacob finally asked. Why would you help me? Samuel smiled. Because once, a long time ago, someone helped me when I had nothing. Now I pass it forward. Jacob looked out the window. He could see the barn. See Hope inside, eating peacefully. Safe. Warm. Alive. Yes, Jacob whispered. Yes. Thank you. That night, Jacob slept in a real bed. Warm. Federal safe. And in the barn, Hope slept too. Her belly full. Her body healing. They both found what they thought was lost forever. Home. Two broken souls, thrown away by the world, had saved each other. And in saving each other, they found something more powerful than survival. They found purpose. They found family. They found hope. The storm was over. The darkness was gone. And tomorrow, when the sun rose, Jacob and Hope would begin their new life together. Not as master and horse, but as friends. As family. As survivors who refused to give up. And that was the greatest victory of all.